Welcome to Reiki Banashi, a podcast where we talk about Reiki in a simple way. I'm Nina, I'm a practitioner and teacher of traditional Japanese Reiki, and in this space I offer you reflections and shared moments. And today we have the pleasure of welcoming Barbrara Spolverato. Barbrara is a Shihan teacher of Jikiden Reiki with a journey as rich as it is authentic. In 2017, she had the fortune of studying directly with Tadao Yamaguchi sensei, who carries on the family legacy of traditional Japanese Reiki through Jikiden Reiki, passed down without Western influences. I also had the opportunity to receive teachings from Tadao Sensei, and it's always an honor to connect with other teachers who share this lineage and this deeply noted approach to Japanese tradition. We are only few Shihan's teachers here in Italy, so it's always a great joy when we come together. Barbrara also practices shamanism, and in our conversation we will talk about this as well. So originally this episode was recorded in Italian, but I wanted to translate it by dubbing it in English and in French. So I really did my best with the translation, so please be indulgent. I hope this will help you access and understand it anyway. So make yourself comfortable and let's get started. Konnichiwa, yokoso. Ciao Barbrara and welcome to Reiki Banashi. I'm really happy to have you here with us today. O genki desu ka? How are you today? O genki desu, konnichiwa, Nina-san. I'm glad and thank you for inviting me to your beautiful podcast. Thank you. Molto piacere. With a great pleasure. So we already knew each other online, but we got to know each other better in Sardinia during an event I organized. You were very nice to come here, and since then we have built a beautiful friendship. E da allora abbiamo creato ovviamente una bellissima. It was very nice because it's different seeing each other on video or instead of seeing each other in person. It's different. It's a whole different thing. So I wanted to come and see where you are in a great place. Nina teaches in a great place, Quartu, Sant'Elena in Sardinia. So if you want to make your vacation as well, it's so nice to combine the two things. It's just nice. The place where you are, very nice. So that was a very pleasant weekend. Thank you, and you are always welcome, you know. So you are a practitioner and teacher of Jikiden Reiki. You mainly teach in northern Italy, in Milan, right? So I teach in Milan, mainly in the north area, via Pastrengo, in a holistic center that is called Hansa Holistic Center. It's the area, for those who are from the parts, the area, quite close to the train station. However, I also had opportunities to teach in Bergamo, and in September I also taught at my friend Laura Losardo Kokoro Center in Turin. Beautiful. And I hope to continue to have this opportunity to teach again both in Bergamo and Turin. It was the first time I went, so I taught the basic level, Shoden. Now we are organizing to do more courses and also do the advanced one. Bellissimo, bellissimo. Aspetta, Kokoro. Beautiful. And wait, Kokoroso, it means heart in Japanese. Yes, she's a lover of Japanese culture and is also a Reiki teacher. Not Jikiden, but she has been teaching Reiki for so many years. She knows more or less all the styles. She was missing only Jikiden, and so she was expecting me because she was very curious about what it was. There were other people. There were 6 of us because, we prefer to do the classes in a few people to follow them. So unfortunately, I also had other people interested, but had to leave some people out. Maybe we'll go back on that because more than 6 people we can't have, So, certo, certo, certo. Yeah, of course. Sì. Sì, allora, guarda, forse per cominciare, vogliamo sapere un
So,
po' come
to start, would
sei
you like to
arrivata
tell us
al
about
Reiki
your
nella tua
Reiki
vita,
journey?
no?
How did
Ti va
you
di
discover
raccontarci
Jikiden
un
Reiki
po' il
and
tuo
what
percorso
specifically
e
drew
come l'hai
you to
scoperto
this
il Reiki e poi
approach?
forse come hai scoperto il Jikiden Reiki e cosa ti ha attirato in particolare verso questo?
So, I discovered Reiki at a very complicated and tiring time in my life. In 2014, I had just returned to work after my third pregnancy. Oh, yeah, I had 2 other children who were grown up in a manner of speaking. They were in elementary school. Then I had this little boy, and I don't have my parents. I lost them 20 years ago. And I lost both of them to diseases. And so basically, I'm an only child, and I didn't have a lot of help. At the time, I had a husband who was very often abroad for work, and I was working in an American multinational company. And one fine day, I arrived dead beat at the office from all the sleepless nights. And this colleague, who I didn't really know what she was doing outside of the office, made me try kind of a little 15 minutes treatment by standing in front of the coffee machine, on the coffee table with my hand here on my shoulder. And it was shocking because, like a light bulb went on. And I said, I want to learn this. It's not that I wanted to try it again. I wanted to learn it because I felt a huge benefit from it right away, even though it did little basically. And so, basically, to make a long story short, 15 days later, I was enrolled in her teacher's class. I went to this 1 day class. I think it only lasted because we Milanese always are in a hurry. We don't have time. I didn't know exactly what it was going to do, but knowing that it was something that had me just, I was in need of something to support me on the physical level. Mainly, it was the physical, but then also the emotional, the invaluable emotional support, even on the emotional level. So I went to do this course and I came back excited. I started doing Reiki to the kids, to my husband, everywhere. Yes, because I felt really good. So, so even going to work in the subway, I do Reiki. It started like boom, and I went forward. So it was 2014, at least 2.5 years. I had read a little bit about Reiki when I got passionate. When I get passionate for something, I always want to know more about it, no?
Certo.
Yeah, sure. And until there came a time in my life when some things, studying, practicing, going to these famous Reiki shares and exchanges, etc., certain things that didn't quite add up to me. I started reading the book of Tadao Yamaguchi, Light on the Origins of Reiki, and I started reading it because Light on the Origins of Reiki, the title already, no, I started reading it. So it really is, it opened another window, a really wide window for me, because there were so many things written in that book that I didn't know. and that no one had ever told me. But I was getting there on certain things, certain topics. I'm talking about Byosen, the special feelings in the hands. Anyway, all that is explained very well in the Jikiden. And so, with a friend of mine that was already doing Reiki, also her, she's a Japanese interpreter, so already she was already inside this culture. We decided, she in 2016, me for various family reasons, me in 2017, to go and visit. So we discovered the Institute of Jikiden Reiki in Kyoto, which was giving classes. Wonderful. So she left the year before and she came back enthusiastic. And so I, the year after, precisely for family reason, I couldn't go before. So in 2017, really, wow, shocking, really, because they have a way of putting things. I always say, in 5-6 days, I learned more than in a year here. But it's true, it really opened up a new world for me. I was already passionate about Reiki. What is destined for you? This is the first sentence that is on my website, that is under construction. So, yeah, absolutely wonderful. Go there, then the institute is a Japanese house, and then, Tadao Yamaguchi sensei. Exactly, to the point. This brings me to the next question. You had the opportunity to study directly with Tadao Yamaguchi, both in Kyoto and London, right? Yes, in London he came quite recently, and I actually became Shihan like that with him. I started with him and finished with him. I started just in 2017. In 2018, I came back because I had not that enough experience out of it. Like my husband was saying, like she's crazy. Very often so in couples. No, but I have to say one thing. When I got there in Japan in 2017, a very strange thing happened in the sense that I felt like I won't say going back home, but yeah, going back to a place, where I had been before. It was like it was my environment, even if I've never been to Japan. And other until 2017, never been to the East. I've never been to either China, India. So upsetting in that sense, so much so that when I came back, I felt crazy nostalgic for this country. And it's really a strange thing. Weird. Whatever, from my point of view, maybe not. However, in telling it, yes, a little bit. So I really missed it inside of me once I went there. There is one time I went there, like I had forgotten probably, or in another life. I suppose I was Japanese, who knows, or maybe from nearby in the area. I don't know, because it was just, it was even more impactful for me. Anyway, in 2018 and 2024 in London, he came back because unfortunately there was COVID and it blocked a little bit everything, because in 2019 I became Shihankaku, that means beginner teacher, that can only teach the basic level, the Shoden level, for who's listening to us and maybe doesn't know. And then when I started to teach, the pandemic hit, so it blocked me. And I waited 3 years, even a little bit longer, to become Shihan. And then I finally was able to do it in London, but sooner or later I will go back to Japan. Yeah, beautiful. Really, many people that are passionate about Japan tell me when they get to the heart of the culture there, there are those who, the kind that finds it beautiful, or there are those who say, okay, this is a part of me. It's like you go back home, exactly. It's very often like that. And you know, in some cultures, we believe in reincarnation. So a lot of people in Japan also say it in a very simple way. Definitely, in a zensei, we say that that means in another past life. So I think you were definitely Japanese. Who knows? And so, is there any particular thing that impressed you other than the culture, perhaps in Tadao Sensei's teachings? So, yes, about Tadao Yamaguchi, he's a wonderful person. I was amazed by the fact that, aside from the fact that he's an encyclopedia on Reiki, and you can ask him any kind of question, even the strangest, he answers. We also asked him questions about the other practices that were there in Mikao Usui's time in Japan. He showed us basically a bookcase with all the books in Japanese, of course, and even Japanese people who were from the institute said, "Wow!" So he read everything, and then he is a wonderful person because he is a humble teacher, very humble, with so much wisdom, though, so much wisdom. A very kind person, and a person who comes to you, a person who, when you are there, encourages you so much. If you make a mistake, no problem. He really puts you at ease, and I really adore him. Yeah, I adore my sensei. And I mean, he could act more pretentious for what and who he really is. Then he emanates energy. Then, when I received the Reiju from him the first time, you feel, the Reiju, well, you are in a situation where you don't see, so as not to reveal too much. Oh, maybe for who doesn't know what a Reiju is, if you can explain it a little bit. Oh, yes. So Reiju is a kind of, let's call it a ceremony, a kind of ceremony that allows you to connect more fluidly and deeply with this energy, with the Reiki energy, because we are already connected. There is no need to activate anything. We're already activated. This just cleanses, let's say, our connection so that the Reiki flows more fluidly, faster. But afterwards, we can also pass it to people, use it on us. So it's very special as a ceremony. Very so. It's done in the dark, and I say that maybe because some people might think, who knows what they are doing, but no, that's just because that's how the master did it. That's how Reiki was originally done. Then, then there were various modifications. But okay, so I really, I really felt him arriving. You feel his energy, and also when he does Reiju, you get a crazy, like a waterfall of energy. I can confirm. Yeah, you confirm. It's really worth trying. And he does it in such a simple, calm, centered way that I've never seen anyone else do it. So, I've known lots of Reiki teachers, but like this, never, never. True, true. And indeed, Jikiden Reiki is often described as an approach closer to the original Reiki before it came to the West and began to evolve, shall we say, in another way. In your opinion, because you started by studying another type of Reiki, no? Yes. So, what are the main differences from the most popular forms of Reiki today? Mm, the difference is that there are so many parts that have been somehow forgotten and instead are very important. I don't know, maybe for historical reasons, other parts are not there in the same way. They are superficially covered. Because if I remember my first class, I would say that of the first Western Reiki class, uh, the Gokai, the five famous principle of Reiki that are the basis with Jikiden Reiki. In the Western class, they said it quickly in Italian. So, I'm not judging. However, I'm making a comparison because actually the Jikiden is much more. If I have a word in English, it would be grounded. Yes, I guess we say ancorato in Italian, I guess. Yes, it is ancorato, it is grounded because it starts from the origins. Because some concepts that they were telling me here in Western Reiki, for example, you ask this concept here, where does this concept come from? And many people, no, I don't say many, but on my personal experience, they can't really answer you well, and they give you answers that didn't make sense for me. But also listening to my heart, I don't know, there was something, something wrong. But when I started to study Jikiden, I understood so many things. Because the Reiki that is done in this way, because so many concepts uh, come from the Japanese culture, from Shintoism, from Bukkyo, because we always have to remember that Reiki is originated in Japan, not from a person who is Christian, as some people tell, but he was Japanese. And he took a lot from Shinto and Buddhism. There they explain to you what he brought into Reiki. And Reiki is Japanese culture, and Shinto and Bukkyo, and vice versa. Japanese culture, Shinto and Bukkyo is Reiki. So there was kind of a contextualization compared maybe to things that were said about Reiki here in the West. I mean, it works equally for, of course, nobody wants to criticize anything or question anything, but for who wants something more, let's say the Jikiden offers that. Right. It's really, I think, the historical part, the cultural part, and also the explanations are so detailed, so elaborate that you understand even more. Let's say it's what we feel, right? I had so much satisfaction teaching in Turin, where we really had, people of quality there who have studied so much Reiki, have deepened their knowledge. And people who had been actually studying for 15, 20 years, who were practicing like my friend, and certain things to them, when I explained to them the what and how, like when Tadao Sensei explains it, it's like a light bulb went on, and they said here like, okay, or gee, it's true. But also not only at the level of explanation, but also at the level of just the energy. The energy changes because it's a Reiki, which its roots mainly, it's without all the new age. And all what is left is the Japanese tradition. Because again, Reiki is Japanese, and it's been taken away or left the essentials, and the essential works wonderfully. Sì, sai, ogni tanto,
Yeah,
un
so
po'
sometimes
l'esempio
I
che
give a very simple
soprattutto
example,
qua in Italia,
especially
perché
here in
anche in
Italy,
Giappone
because
amiamo
also in
tanto il
Japan we
cibo
love
e anche
food
voi,
so much,
nella cultura
and also you
italiana.
in the Italian
Quando
culture, you
hai
do too.
pochi
So,
ingredienti,
when
ma
you
quelli
have
giusti in una
few
ricetta, ti
ingredients,
viene
but
qualcosa di
the right
buonissimo.
ones,
Se inizi a
and
aggiungere
that
tante cose, ad
in a
esempio voi
recipe
la
you
pizza
get
con
something
l'ananas,
very
credo
good
che
but
non è una cosa
simple.
che vi va.
If you
Do
start
questo
to add
esempio
so many
mi
things,
fa
for example,
ridere
for
e
you,
sorridere, però è un po' quello,
pineapple on
alla
a
fine
pizza, for the
avere
pizza
gli
example,
ingredienti
no?
giusti,
It's a
una cosa
no-go.
semplicissima
So
che dà
I give
un
this example,
risultato
it makes people
ottimo,
laugh and
no?
it makes people smile. However, at the end, having the
Esatto,
right ingredients is a
bravissima.
very simple thing, but that gives a very good result, no? It changes the taste. No, it changes the taste. This thing about changing the taste, he said it in English exactly in London. Also, Tadao Yamaguchi, he was not talking about pizza. However, he said the energy is the same, but the flavor,
No,
the
certo,
taste is a little different. Without wanting to belittle, I repeat, no one or nothing. No,
ok.
of course.
E allora, se ad esempio qualcuno
And
ci sta
so,
ascoltando
if
e sente
someone listening to us
un
feels
richiamo verso
drawn to
questo
this more
approccio più
traditional approach to
tradizionale
Reiki,
del Reiki,
what
che
advice would you give them to
consiglio
start
gli
or deepen
daresti
their
per
practice?
iniziare o approfondire la pratica?
Well, then I would say explore on the books or series of books that, I always suggest also to people who come to my classes. First of all, Tadao Yamaguchi's book, Light on the Origins of Reiki, which I think is enlightening. And then to contact one of the certified teachers, because we in the Jikiden, we are all certified. We passed, also in Nina knows, a series of steps to become a teacher, also quite long and laborious. And then we have certification also internationally. So yes, contact one of us in Nina in Sardinia, or Giuseppe Paterniti in Treviso, Silvia Filippino always in Treviso, me in Milan, Torino, and Bergamo. You can find teachers, so go find them. Also on the website of the Institute, find a teacher who can give you more information or even let you try a treatment once per month, but most of Jikiden teachers do. We do meetings that are both practice for those who have already done the course and also information for people who come from outside and they can try a treatment, or they can also, as it happened to me, for example, on Saturday, some people came because they wanted more information. I mean, just deepen, go on the internet. Look at the website of the Institute, it's good. We're on Facebook, Instagram. I mean, I don't have a website yet, it's under construction, but Inina has it.
Lo metterò
Yes,
nelle
yes, I will
note
put everything on the
dell'episodio.
show notes. Yeah,
Sì,
become
e
curious.
ricordo che questo episodio sarà
Yes,
tradotto
I
anche in
remind you that this
francese e in
episode will
inglese,
be
quindi
also translated into
andate a
French and
vedere
English,
anche
so
nella vostra
go
zona.
and see
Ci sono
also
in
in your
Francia, abbiamo
area.
anche dei
So if you
Shihan.
are in
Cioè,
France, we
l'inglese
also have
sarà
some
aperto
Shihans there, and
sicuramente,
for English, you will
troverete
definitely find
qualcuno.
someone all over the world. That's right. It's not a narrow reality. We are kind of everywhere around the world. It's an international reality with teachers who are certified, who teach the same thing without adding or taking away anything else. So you can find us in other countries, absolutely. We have a lot of colleagues in France, Germany, in the United States, in Canada,
Una grande
everywhere.
comunità,
Yes, we are a big community.
Sì.
Yeah, a community that is great and beautiful. That, by the way, another thing that I liked so much is that there is this very close community between each other. We are very close. Maybe because it's something that our teacher he cares so much about. It's not that that one is higher from the other. We are all at the same level, and it's very beautiful as a community.
I like it so much. It's true. Another thing I felt studying with him is that even if there were also Shihan teachers, Dai Shihans in the same seminar, he doesn't make you feel a difference. Even if there is someone who comes from the first time, they make you feel that we are all the same and we are all learning. And it's beautiful, this sense of humility that you said.
Vero, vero. Infatti a
Yes, indeed.
Londra
In London, we were
eravamo,
there with people who were
c'erano
first
persone
timers.
che era la prima
There was
volta che
us.
venivano,
We
mai
were
fatto
with
Reiki
practitioners,
prima,
Daishi
c'eravamo
hands,
noi,
who are
c'erano
the
i
most
praticanti,
experienced
c'erano i Dai
teachers.
Shihan,
We
che
all
sono gli
stood side
insegnanti
by
con maggiore
side next to each other.
esperienza
A Daishi Han, a
pratica.
beginner level,
Ci
next to
siamo
Tadao
messi tutti,
Yamaguchi, talk
diciamo, uno
together.
con
So,
l'altro, come se
yes,
fossi Dai
it's
Shihan
true.
o livello
Yes,
beginner,
yes.
da ascoltare la musica che
This one
parlava
is
e
very
quindi
true.
sì,
That's one
uscivamo con la...
thing
Quindi
I
sì, è
love
vero.
about the
Sì, sì, questo
Jikiden.
qua è verissimo, è una delle cose che adoro proprio del
There's
Jikiden,
not
perché
this kind of
non c'è questa
competition,
sorta di competizione, io sono più bravo di
like
tu,
I'm
io
better
sono a
than
un livello
you or
maggiore
I'm
di te,
higher
ed è una
level than
cosa che
you.
mi sfidera
That's
tanto
something that I
in
used to
certi
hold
ambienti
so tightly in
del Reiki
certain
occidentale,
circles of the
insomma.
Western Reiki. I mean, here that makes me think a little bit about how the Western mind and the Japanese mind works, where we are much more in a creating together and instead how the ego takes place. Obviously it's human and that happens everywhere in the world. There are big egos everywhere in the world, that we know that, but this tendency to want to make something grow together is very present in Japanese Reiki. It's true.
È vero, anche nella vostra
It's true in your culture, I
cultura,
mean,
sì.
and it's very nice.
Molto, molto bello.
Oh, and you do also study shamanism. Do you also practice and teach it?
Allora, no, non
So,
che insegno.
no, I don't teach,
Non si sa mai nella vita, ma
but you
direi
never
sui
know in
prossimi
life.
programmi
I
l'insegnamento.
practice it,
Lo
yes.
pratico,
Yes,
sì,
for
da
at
almeno
least
3 anni e mezzo.
three
Ho
and a
iniziato
half
nel
years. I started
2021.
in 2021. I also went here by
Sono
chance.
andata
Another thing that,
anche qua per
immediately
caso, ma è un'altra
resonated with
cosa che mi
me.
ha subito risuonato immediatamente. Io sono praticante, sì,
So I'm a
pratico,
practitioner, yes.
quello sì.
So yes, I practice
Quindi di
of core
core
shamanism,
shamanism, è importante dirlo, che è lo sciamanesimo
which is
transculturale
the
di Michael
transcultural
Harner, che ha
shamanism
fatto
of Michael
davvero
Harner,
un antropologo che
who
ha
is an
praticamente
anthropologist
riunito
who
tutte le
brought
pratiche
together all the
sciamaniche
shamanic
che fossero
practices that were
praticabili
practicable
per un
for
occidentale,
Westerners. So
per
he was
l'emisfero
a
occidentale
Westerner, he
l'americano,
was American,
e
and he
creato
created this
questo
system,
sistema che
which,
comunque nulla
however,
toglie, nel senso che
does not
è
take
comunque
anything
sciamanesimo,
away from it,
quindi
in the sense that it is still
sì,
shamanism. So, yes.
lo pratico, abbiamo dei
So I
cerchi,
practice
facciamo dei
it.
cerchi con
We have
altri
circles.
praticanti
We do
qua a Bergamo
circles with other practitioners here
e
in
ho
Bergamo.
sempre Torino
And
sempre
it is also
anche
sometimes in Turin,
le mie due
as
insegnanti
my
sono
two
una
teachers
di
are
provincia
from the
di Cuneo,
province
la mia
of
insegnante
Cuneo.
Aleva,
My
che sarà
teacher is in
l'insegnante è
Turin, so I
Torino, quindi
followed them.
l'ho
I
seguito, ho fatto la
shuttled
scuola
between
tra Cuneo,
Cuneo,
Torino,
Turin,
Milano
Milan
per tre
for
anni e mezzo.
3.5 years. And by the way, there are two
Tra l'altro
people
due
who were
persone che
already
erano già
Reiki
Reiki anche
practitioners.
lui.
Exactly. So I wanted to ask you because shamanism is also a form of tradition that, like Reiki, works with energy and connection. So I wanted to ask you, I'm curious, have you found any resonances between those two practices? And are there elements of shamanism that enrich your view of Reiki and vice versa?
Abbastanza sì. Fai
Well,
conto che io
quite a
sono
lot.
andata a
You can
presentazione,
take
eravamo
into
ancora ai
account
tempi di
that I
Covid,
went
quindi l'ho
into the
fatta su
presentation
Zoom
where
della mia
um,
insegnante che
it
insomma
was
era chiusa
still
in marzo,
in
quindi
COVID
diciamo.
time, so she did it on
Ed è,
Zoom,
e diceva
and
delle
my teacher, whose name is Rachele Giancaspro from Shamanic Division, and she was saying things that I had heard about the Japanese with Reiki, attending the Jikiden. So it hooked me. I think something I found also in shamanism, also because both the heart of Reiki and the heart of Japan, but particularly the Shinto, has a strong animism base. And shamanism has a strong animist base. So, I mean, everything is spirit, everything around us has a visible part and an invisible part. So, this the Japanese know perfectly well. They were born already with that, while we Westerners not that much. And so that's something I really liked about the Shinto, because I felt it very much, everything has a spirit and everything deserves respect. They did both, shamanism and also Shintoism have remarkable respect for nature, the environment. Our master Tadao Yamaguchi tells us that he used to go to the seminars on the environment, how to uplift Mother Earth, and it's a connection based on this connection with everything that is living, that is around us, visible or not visible. And so the Reiki energy, the energy of the woods, is something that also, when you go to do shamanism, I don't know, nature spirits, it helps you so much. Let's say that the two combine, they help for the connection for what we are, the subtle worlds, subtler energies, including also the energy of Reiki. So yes, there are very noticeable resonances with Reiki, so much that I happen to talk about it. If I go to a Reiki seminar, if I do a Reiki seminar and sometimes we end up talking about shamanism, or I go to shamanism, now I go this Saturday and Sunday to participate with my two teachers. I don't teach, I participate in another seminar based on shamanism. And I already know that we will also talk about Reiki. So it is very, very easy to go from, one side to the other. Oh, and let's remember that we have a Shihan, that is shaman. So a teacher in the Jikiden Reiki community that is a shaman. Now I don't remember her name. I think, yeah, she's a shaman, I think around Okinawa. She participated in the too bad it was all in Japanese, because if not I would have read the whole thing. However, later I will give you her name. So she's from the parts of Okinawa, and she does all the ceremonies with water, which is an element I love. So she's a Shihan, and she participated in the last Congress of Jikiden Reiki that was in 2019 in Canada. She was also there and she talked about it. I was told she talked about it, but she still does the two things separately. I do so too. If I do Reiki, I do Reiki, and if I do shamanism, I do shamanism. Even though the assonance is really huge, the more you practice, the more you realize that, in the end, they have the same thing. So, yeah, they are connected anyway. There is something that connects us. Yeah, and she's also a Shihan, so she teaches that too. And yes, also shamanism works so much on connecting with our spirit guides, animals, powers, so many things, so many resonances. So yes, it was really a hook when hearing some things. Now, I don't start because if not, we stay for 4 hours talking, but really I felt like I was hearing the Japanese talking about Reiki Reiki as a kind of resonating, settle, sensing, feeling. It is based so much on, sensing also in shamanism. Yes, I can imagine. And on respecting nature, even that we are completely. And that is true. Gratitude towards nature is something, just at least in my family, but I don't know. My grandfather was Kannushi Shinto. How to explain in Italian? Oh, like a Shinto priest or a Shinto minister. Yeah, exactly. And he was very much in this gratitude for nature, gratitude of everything. Actually, it makes me think also of the Gokai, to always be in gratitude because we are part of a big whole. It's not just us human that are superior, and this very often in today's society we forget that our humility with nature. Yeah, that reminds a bit of the Gokai, but yes, yes, absolutely. The speech of gratitude. I heard it so much because during, the COVID, we were all here in the house. I was part of a group, and there was a person who you met who is Japanese. It was a group made up of people from various nationalities. So we were two Italians, some Americans, Japanese people, and we were meeting there or in the morning or in the evening to get, the time zones right. And she was telling, especially for Westerners about the Japanese culture. She was telling us in bits and pieces for trying, at least trying to explain to us because we are so many different, there are so many different mentalities. Mm. So, in my opinion, she did it very well, and the talk about gratitude often came out. Yeah. Yes, it's most important, I think, especially in working with energy, with gratitude. Yes, gratitude opens up. It opens you a field. You open up the connection and expands the toroidal heart energy that we have that expands with gratitude. And yeah, it's very important. Exactly. We tend to take everything as, how we say in Italian, everything due, everything due. And I wanted to ask you another question, then slowly we're getting towards the end of the episode, but if you could meet Mikao Usui sensei today, ta-da, what would you ask him or what would you say to him? I have a great and deep respect for this man, and I must say also an enormous gratitude to him. So, whatever, now people will think I am crazy. But now in my bedroom, my husband can't stand it. I have his picture. I have the very picture frame with him, Hayashi sensei, and Chiyoko sensei, whatever. Anyway, he, Mikao Usui, is above a piece of furniture in my room. So the respect and gratitude I have for this person who is a genius, I wouldn't know what to call it. I probably, like Tadao. I imagine him a little bit like that. A very humble man, very quiet. However, very surely I would thank him, maybe with bowing in a Japanese way and questions. I'm going to have a billion probably, maybe. Here's the thing that comes to my mind now. ask him what he thinks, but I don't want to be presumptuous. I could maybe imagine maybe the answer, but what he thinks about how Reiki has turned out in the sense in all these lineages and forms that are around, how he sees them from his point of view, from from him who is the creator, the founder, the researcher. I mean, it's his. Shinshin Kaizen Usui Reiki Ryoho. And the Reiki of now, I would like to know his point of view and this vastness of styles. And I would say that, in my opinion, he might also be pleased in a sense, as the idea was to make it known, to broaden it as much as possible. No, maybe the purpose of Takata and other people, even certainly of Chiyoko Sensei. So I would be curious, though, to see him, from his perfectly Japanese point of view, how he might answer if I really had to ask him a question, and then I would ask then other questions.
Se proprio devo fargli una domanda, se poi devo fare altre domande.
Bellissimo, sì. Sì, è vero. Yes, beautiful. Yes, it is true. It would be very interesting to know his point of view, how he positions himself, could give so much guidance on how to welcome all this, because it is true that it became very different than what it was. I think, however, he is always following us all. He's no longer in the material world, but I think his spirit is there a little bit everywhere in Reiki, during the seminars. I don't know. I have this feeling that he is there. That in a certain way he participates, in a certain way, in what we do, what others do.
Ci sia, ecco.
Sì, sì, sì. Sì, anche secondo me, yeah, also in my opinion. Also, above all, when we start practicing, or when we use this practice, I say, wow, actually, if he never existed, of course, this energy exists, it's always here. Though, to have just the tools, the techniques, he was this bridge through this energy and us. He is comparable to one of the scientists, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Galileo. He really went beyond what his culture was, and a genius. We could almost paint him for what he did in absolutely, simple, grounded way also.
Quello che ha fatto in una maniera assolutamente semplice.
Esatto.
That's
right. Grounded and also accessible. Yes, accessible, especially accessible. The magic of Reiki is that it's accessible to everybody. My 3 children learned Reiki when they were little. It came to my mind now. And they use it because it's so much accessible, and also children can do it. Of course, if well followed, instructed, and so on and so on, they can use it. My last child learned Reiki. He was 4 years old, and he wanted it to. And still, he's almost 13, and he uses it when he's in difficulty. Also, treats others when in need. So I said, please do it, with discretion, because he used it with his classmates. So here it is. You will see that it also teaches so much to help, the help, compassion towards other people, respect, the help, to help each other, people that help each other beyond religion and everything. And this is a very positive side of Reiki. Exactly. It makes me think of this position of helping others, but also for ourselves, just with our hands.
La cosa più semplice di questo mondo.
Easiest thing in the world.
Bellissimo.
Sì,
Ecco.
sì.
Barbara, is there anything we didn't talk about that you would have liked to share? I mean, we talked about so many things, and we certainly, if we didn't record, we can talk more for hours and hours.
Il problema di quando
Yes,
iniziamo
that's the
a
problem. Just when we start talking about Reiki. Like they say, no, no, don't start making her talk about Reiki because she won't stop.
Ma io
No, I
non lo
don't know.
so, venite
Just,
incuriosire,
come, be
siate
curious,
curiosi, siate,
like
com'è che diceva no, è quello della
Steve
Apple,
Jobs
siate affamati,
said, no?
Steve
Be
Jobs,
curious,
no? Siate curiosi, siate
be
affamati,
hungry.
è
Just
proprio
in my
una
opinion.
base, ogni persona
Every
dovrebbe
person, for every
conoscere e
person,
praticare
should
Reiki,
know
perché
and practice Reiki.
sarebbe un grande
There would be a
cambiamento, cioè
big change.
nella mia
That is my
visione,
vision, a
un po'
little bit
utopistica
utopian.
forse, ma molto utopistica.
Well, who knows? Look, I sometimes think about now. Yoga, for example, has become something that everybody knows or heard about at least, no? But in the 70s, before, there wasn't so much, maybe a minority of people who knew. So who knows how things can evolve.
Tanto è già tanto
Yeah,
conosciuto
it's
per
true. It's already
cui
so much known.
siamo
So
curiosi.
who knows?
Staremo
We'll
a
see.
vedere
So be curious.
cosa succederà,
We'll see
insomma.
what will
Sempre
happen.
qualcosa di buono,
Always something good.
questa energia così
Always something
bella,
good from this
pulita,
energy that is so
assolutamente
nice, clean,
innocua, no? Perché adesso c'è anche
absolutely
tutto questo
harmless
discorso
because,
sull'energia
now there's all this
negativa,
talk
eccetera.
about
Questa è
negative
proprio una
energy.
cosa che va
And this is just a
naturale,
thing that goes naturally, something good. So,
qualcosa di buono
yeah, let's start to
iniziamo a
spread
diffondersi.
even more. Whether it's Western
Ancora di
style
più.
Reiki, that is Jikiden, just, let's spread it.
Diffondiamo.
Exactly. In the end, Reiki is Reiki. Then, for those who want to know more, the roots, the history, and study deeper, there, obviously, those who want to go to the roots, you can always study more.
Infatti
And yes, in fact, I had so many people like osteopaths, physiotherapists, people, people in the medical field, and I'm very happy when they come to the class. People at service that use their hands, needs touch in their work, and I'm very happy with these people when they come because it goes wonderfully well with medicine. So, of course, it doesn't replace it, but it combines with medicine, with any kind of medicine. And then also so many Reiki masters. Again, about my experience in Turin with masters, I would say they have done so many styles of Reiki, also Japanese, like the let's say Japanese style of Komyo, that were always missing a link or an element in their practice, and they come because they say, I don't know, I'm not convinced, and it means that then when they come out of the class, I can also tell they come out of the course with, I hope, and the class of Jikiden Reiki, with something more. Like my friend that wants to deepen it, but not only experienced people who, also people who have never approached Reiki because it didn't resonate with them, or they come in a way attracted by the simplicity of Jikiden. So they come for more information and you explain to them a very simple way, and then they say it's much simpler than what they thought. So they get curious and they come and deepen, in short.
Allora è molto più semplice e che vengono e che si incuriosiscono e vengono approfondiscono, insomma, vengono poi a...
È interessante, questa parte
That's
di
interesting, this part, to
approfondire
deepen
ci vuole
something.
togliere molto
We
spesso.
may have to take
Invece di
away
aggiungere,
something or some
aggiungere,
things.
in realtà
Very
qua,
often,
andando
instead
nelle
of
profondità,
adding, we tend to
voglio.
add and add,
Bisogna
thinking
essere il
that's the
nocciolo.
way to
E
deepen
poi
something.
molto
When
semplice,
actually
perché noi
here,
siamo abituati
we may have to
sempre
remove things to go
aggiungere per
deeper.
imparare, come se
So we are left with the
invece di
cord, the
più
camel.
informazioni, più
And it's
elementi,
not
più
very
difficoltà,
simple because we are
vuol dire che
used
ha
to
più
adding
valore.
to learn, as if
penso
there
sia
is more
però
information,
una
more
caratteristica della
elements,
mentalità
more difficulty,
occidentale, no?
it means
Voi
it
la
has more
colleghi
value.
È vero che
This, yes, however, I think it's a characteristic of the Western mind because Japanese are not so complicated. I would say, yes, I was going to think, but so many elements have become more complicated. You know, they kind of arrived after World War II, because in Japan, for example, all the consumerism that is also beautiful when you go to Japan, there are so many things to see in that sense. But however, I think the simplicity as we imagine it in Japan is the one, at the time before World War II. It is something really grounded, simple, but right to the point. And so is Jikiden Reiki. Exactly, that's what it is.
Barbara, grazie.
Barbara, thank you so much for this wonderful moment together and for sharing your experience with us. For me, it's always a great pleasure. It's always truly inspiring to talk with someone who fully lives their practice and shares it with such passion.
E la trasmette con tanta passione.
So before we say goodbye, you mentioned that we can find you on social medias, right? Yes, so on Facebook it's Jikiden Reiki con Barbara, and also on Instagram, but it's a bit longer because you cannot write it without underscore, so it's Jikiden underscore Reiki underscore con underscore Barbara. Perfect, I will add these links in the show notes. Oh, and now I'm finally doing my website. Oh, I can't wait to see it. So it's a website that is under construction, as we have to set a lot of things still, but I called it Reiki of the Origins. I couldn't find another name because that's what it is, which will be ready soon. Oh, so hopefully next time you're on the podcast, we can maybe share this link. Thank you so much. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you, Inina. Thank you for the invitation. Arigatou gozaimashita. And see you soon, and bye to everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and once again a big thank you to Barbara. It's a joy to share these moments with you. And if you'd like to continue exploring these topics with me, you can find me on Instagram or on my website. And if you want to dive deeper or learn more, all the links are in the show notes. I'll see you soon for a new episode, and in the meantime, take care. ありがとうございました。